Hey Megan, it's Dr. Scott. Has some feedback for you on your visual analysis draft. As a quick reminder of what I'm looking for in this assignment, I'm looking for a thesis statement that's clear, that's focused, has strong supporting reasons. And what I mean by supporting reasons in an essay of this length, basically mean your body paragraphs. Or your body paragraphs, are they a good supporting section for your paper's overall argument? Also looking for supporting details. Are you using good detail from the murals? Are you also using details from the documentary or the Scioto historical articles to support and back up your paper's overall argument? Looking for organization and transitions. Do you have a reason why you are placing paragraphs in the location that you have them? And are you using transitions between paragraphs and between ideas within your paragraphs? I'm also looking for a couple paraphrases to be integrated into your writing, and I'm also looking for MLA format integration of a visual and a paragraph without be verbs. So I'm really interested in the two murals that you've chosen. They're really kind of interesting, and I don't always see this kind of this pairing, which I really kind of like. What I think that one of the issues to talk about is the thesis statement, and I think it's here at the end of the second paragraph. Portsmouth was built on the grounds of their land. Their determination resonates within us to this day. I might have that wrong, but I felt like that's the place where you were really trying to I think that's where you were trying to say that here's what I think the overall kind of message is. What's missing from that thesis statement is a discussion about like how the murals get that across. And I think action that's shown in the murals, I think that's part of it. That seems to be what this paragraph is about. But there needs to be something in there that says this is how the murals kind of get this idea of determination or resilience across. So one issue is clarifying, like, is this actually the thesis statement? I wasn't sure, but there needs to be some kind of discussion of like how you're going to go about supporting that point. Another issue to bring up with these two paragraphs is like I think it's taking you too much time to get your essay started. I think there should really be one introductory paragraph, and I think there's some cutting and some condensing to happen between these two paragraphs, and then they kind of need to come together. The issue I think that you run into with this first paragraph is you have this paraphrase from Dr. Fite, and you kind of end the paragraph with a paraphrase, and that's one of the things to avoid when you're integrating a quote or a paraphrase. Don't put them at the end of a paragraph. There needs to be you need to kind of discuss what that quote or what that paraphrase means in terms of your paper's overall argument. So that's one reason why I think some of what's down here needs to come up here. But I think these two paragraphs need to get condensed and combined because you need to kind of get to your argument pretty quickly. This is a small assignment. And sometimes you need a few paragraphs to introduce a project, but I think for an essay of only 12 to 1,300 words, you need to set up and frame the paper in that first paragraph, and then you need to be off to the races after that. So that's my first bit of advice about the thesis statement. So what I see here is really there's just one body paragraph, and it's this mega paragraph. And I'm not against long paragraphs. It's just this seems to be the only paragraph that you have. Here's the issue that I see going on with this in this paragraph. That's that you have a lot of great detail, and I love your eye for detail, and you're kind of describing the scene that's there, but you're not connecting that to the paper's overall argument enough. So you do it at the end of the paragraph, but there really does need to be some discussion within the paragraph. And after your examples, where you're kind of saying, all right, that representation of Bessie Tomlin, here's how that relates to this idea of resilience or this idea of determination. And so instead of doing that, what we have is like we have Bessie Tomlin, and then next we're off to another example, and then another example, and then you're off to, I think, another mural or something like that. So, this is all about one mural. So the only time we kind of get into, we start talking about, I think it's like right in here. So we have an entire paragraph where it's like detail after detail after detail, and some is really great detail, and then at the end we have this two sentences of payoff where you're actually kind of explaining what it all means. That balance needs to be shifted. So you have detail and then you're kind of explaining what it means. I also think having one paragraph where you're talking about one mural and then another paragraph where you're talking about another mural, I think that kind of keeps you from really kind of analyzing the two murals and how they're getting that message across together. So I do think that the body paragraphs, it should be like one way that they get this idea of resilience across is through the use of color, and then you're talking about both murals in there. Another way is through the use of action, and you're talking about both murals from there. So I think you have interesting ideas kind of and great details throughout the essay. It just kind of, they're not kind of coming together at this point, and you're not kind of explaining how those details support the overall argument. So quick summary of what I'm noticing in the paper. You need to clarify the thesis statement and figure out that 2-paragraph intro issue that I mentioned earlier. You need to make sure that you're connecting details to the paragraphs, or in the paragraphs, to your paper's overall argument. For me, I saw only one body paragraph. I think you can make a case, kind of make a case for the second paragraph being a body paragraph, but it just kind of felt like you were summarizing the mural. Well, I mean, there's a comparison there, but again, there's no kind of connection, like how that second paragraph, how that's connected to the paper's overall point, which is determination. You do the same thing at the end, where you kind of say, yeah, this is all determination or stubbornness. So I think I misread that, and I apologize. You do have an introductory paragraph. It took a while for me to kind of figure out that the second paragraph in your essay is actually the first body paragraph. So I think, again, the murals need to come together in the paragraphs, and you need to kind of set up the organization based on how the murals get that argument about determination across. So that's right there, and I misread that, and I apologize. Remember to think about the other criteria for the assignment. So you need to have there needs to be a clear organization, like why you go from one paragraph to the other. You need to have paraphrase integrated. You have one in there, although it's not necessarily integrated in the sense that it's kind of, you're ending a paragraph with it. You need to have an image in there in a paragraph without be verbs. Okay, so there's a lot to work on. Megan, I apologize for misreading that second paragraph, but there's quite a bit to work on. So make sure that you're asking me questions later this week, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this revision goes.